Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The rising prospect Jared Anderson is set to return to the ring on April 8th. He will be on Shakur Stevenson's next undercard as the co-main event. Not only that, you also have the Polish prospect Damian Knyba, currently 10-0, will also feature on that card. So there is no opponent listed as yet. You can see here, this is the press release that has come out from Top Rank and ESPN. No opponent listed yet for Jared Anderson. So it can only be one of a few different sort of options. So we'll just go down to the press release here. We'll try to get to where it mentions Anderson. So it just talks about the recent stoppage of Jerry Forrest. Anderson received international headlines for his work as a sparring partner of heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, but now he is firmly established as a potential heavyweight champion. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit there. Anderson, 13-0, 13 stoppages. He is a very good heavyweight prospect. I believe he is the best heavyweight prospect, but he is still in that sort of latter part of his prospect phase where he is sort of working through steps before getting to top contenders. Jerry Forrest was a good top 25-30 guy that he really sort of blasted out in his last performance. He is on the verge of becoming a fully minted contender and a guy that, you know, can't be ignored as a potential heavyweight champion in waiting. But he's still got some work to do. So the question becomes, well, what happens with the next opponent? Because you think this fight's been announced. The card's 2 months away and no opponent. So I'm sure that they're negotiating with someone, but you start to ask the question, well, who could it be? And I actually went to BoxRec and I was like, well, let's just have a look. It's not going to be a top 10 name, but if you look at potential options, and you've got number 15 here, F.A. Ajugba's already ruled out facing Anderson. He said that he's not going to be facing him. He works in the same camp. It's just not going to happen. Other guys are begging for other fights, like Otto Wallin seems to be trying to go after a top 10 name. Just a number of other fighters have fights lined up. You have Tony Yoka. Robert Helenius is coming off a loss. Is he going to fight again? He was pretty badly hurt by Deontay Wilder. But that could make some sense. But number 20 here on BoxRec. And I know some people might go, is this a little high for Ali Erendemirezin? But when you actually look at the record and the resume and what he's been doing, he's coming off some of the best wins of his career. Adam Kovnatsky, Gerald Washington. So that was his 2022 with Kingpin Johnson also mixed in there. He's washed as anything at this point. So from a standpoint of facing guys that are tough, durable, and go rounds, and coming off some form, Ali Erendemirezin really does tick a lot of boxes and would make a lot of sense. And would one of the things that's stopping the progress of announcing the opponent for Anderson at the point that this press release has gone out announcing the card could be just negotiations and getting that final bit of money and getting those negotiations over the line. I'm sure whoever faces Jared Anderson from this point is going to be asking for a big check because they know the danger. They know that Anderson is a guy that is being pushed by Top Rank and ESPN, and that he is dangerous, very dangerous, and is sort of there's a beeline for him through, you know, incremental steps up the heavyweight division where he's going to be positioned for a title shot in the next couple of years. So anyone facing him will ask for a lot. Probably actually more than Anderson's going to get paid himself. But you look at some other fighters in this list and you kind of go, no, it's not really going to work. You've got Jared Anderson himself at number 28 on BoxRec. His talent level is probably higher than that at this point. He just needs to get the names on the resume to start sort of positioning himself higher. It is a point system after all. But sort of going down the different names, I sort of was going, no, it doesn't make sense. Got to fight, just fought, just lost. Or different promotional considerations like a Charles Martin. It's just not going to happen. And then you get down to number 34, Johnny Rice. And I thought, if it's not going to be someone like Ali Erendemirezin, Johnny Rice seems the next logical name. And he just fought on the last Top Rank card And he just fought on a top-ranked card recently, so for the viewers on ESPN, the more casual boxing fans, they would have seen him stopping Guido Vianello. And he said he was open to that fight, that he's one of the few fighters that actually has mentioned Jared Anderson by name and being willing to face him. But he said he'd want a proper camp and that he'd want to make sure that everything was, basically set up for him to do well for that fight, not come in at short notice with a few weeks of training camp, etc. So if he takes this fight, he might be training for it already, and it might just be negotiating the money at this point. But Johnny Rice and Jared Anderson, it's an appropriate fight at this point, and Rice is coming in with some of the best form of his career, stopping Guido Vianello, and prior to that you had 2 wins over Michael Polite Coffey. So Jared Anderson, Johnny Rice, it's a possibility. And you start going down further down the list. I mean, I would have said potentially like a Carlos Takam makes some sense as well. Tough, durable guy who can go rounds is a true test. But actually, he's already lined up in a fight. And you start going too much further down the list and it starts to become a little bit more unrealistic. But I do think that Jared Anderson, maybe Ali Aaron Demirasian or Johnny Rice would seemingly be logical options. But who knows? But it is one thing that it's tough to start going backwards. If you start facing a level of competition, you can't take a step or two back because it doesn't make sense to do so, and people will call you out for it. But this is always the danger of announcing a fight card without the fight confirmed. This is something Matchroom often did, and it sort of put pressure on them to negotiate with guys who had a little bit more leverage because dates were already in place and locked in. Damian Knyba, so moving on to him, so he is on there without an opponent listed so far. He says, I will fight the first time in 2023 on April 8th on Top Rank at Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. See you in April on Fight Night in Newark. So he's an interesting prospect, 6'7", was he 6'9"? He's a big unit, and he's got some decent skills. He's still raw. He's still a bit of a project. I mean, whereas Jared Anderson is looking a lot more polished, Knyba is going to need probably another half a dozen sort of, not low level, but sort of that medium sort of stage of that prospect phase of a career where he just needs some rounds. He needs some tough, durable guys where he can sort of work on stuff on them in the ring that he's been practicing in the gym. So it's sort of hard to project how far he will go. But, guys like Knyba who've got the height but also have got some natural ability and able to move quite well, if you can actually polish them up, there could be something there. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.